2 out of every 5 undergraduate students in the country are enrolled in community colleges seeking degrees, certificates, upskilling for their current career, or retooling for new careers through 4-credit programs and courses. Community colleges also serve millions of students each year through non-credit programs, and many of these programs are occupational training, offering students an alternative route to upskilling or reskilling, often through preparation for a professional certification or license needed to secure employment or advance in a specific field. Despite the high level of demand for non-credit occupational training, until now we have been unable to say with confidence that the training pays off for students, that students are rewarded for their investment through higher wages or a better chance of securing stable employment. The recent enactment of Workforce Pell for short-term occupational training places a particularly fine point on the need to answer this question. In our study, my colleague, Dr. Rooney of E&E Analytics, and I used data on 128,000 students in Texas to measure the earnings gains that follow from completing non-credit occupational training in community colleges. We found that these students are seeing earnings gains of more than $2,000 per year adjusted for inflation within 1 to 2 years after training. That's a 4.5% increase over average pre-training wages. And it represents a meaningful increase given that the average length of non-credit occupational training is about 90 hours. There is nuance to our findings, however. First, earnings gains unfold over time. Earnings gains in the first several quarters after training rarely reflect the total gains that students will achieve. Gains begin to level off 1 to 2 years after the training. Second, earnings gains depend on the length of the training. Students in longer training programs exceeding 90 contact hours tend to have substantially higher earnings gains than students in shorter training programs. Third, earnings gains depend on the field of study. Transportation-focused programs, such as commercial driving, tend to have above-average earnings gains. Short or mid-length programs in engineering technology fields, like occupational safety and health or petroleum technology, tend to have above-average gains, as do short construction-focused programs. Long-duration programs in nursing or protective services have above-average gains as well. However, students in business and marketing or information technology and communications generally do not see earnings gains even 5 years after training. It is important to note, though, that some non-credit programs are designed to help individuals complete the ongoing training that is needed to maintain professional certification or licenses and keep their jobs. We would not expect to see earnings gains in these types of programs. As federal and state policymakers grapple with the implementation of Workforce Pell and WIOA reauthorization, they should keep in mind 4 takeaways from this study. First, not all programs are created equal. Policymakers should consider using data on wages and employment, such as earnings growth after program completion, to ensure that Workforce Pell programs are high-skill, high-wage, in-demand, or otherwise meeting the hiring requirements of potential employers as required in the law. Second, regarding policy discussions about WIOA reauthorization, WIOA uses earnings and job placement data to measure program outcomes, but policymakers should consider the timing of those measures. Our research shows that earnings gains resulting from training emerge over time and are not fully evident until 1 to 2 years after the training is completed. Third, some types of non-credit training programs are needed for workers to maintain professional certifications or licenses and to keep their jobs rather than advance in or start a new job. Policymakers need to be aware that these types of trainings can be closely aligned with workforce opportunities and employers' needs, yet not result in wage growth. Other measures of alignment should be considered in these cases. Fourth, research shows that in most states, most students in non-credit occupational training do not continue into credit-based degrees or certificate programs, which is a missed opportunity to engage individuals seeking workforce-relevant education in longer-term, higher-return programs. One barrier is that the path from non-credit training to credit programs in the same or related fields of study often is not clear. Policymakers should consider defining what it means for a non-credit training program to lead to a credential that is stackable and portable across employers, as required in Workforce Pell. In addition, when opportunities exist for students to transfer their learning in non-credit programs into progress toward a credit-based degree or certificate, institutions should make those opportunities more apparent and easily navigable for students. If students know at the outset that they can be making progress toward a degree or certificate, this knowledge could be influential in their decisions to continue in college. For workers and students thinking about enrolling in non-credit, we suggest looking past the marketing of a program and ask the college for information about what occupational doors the training opens, the professional certifications or licenses for which the training may prepare you, the employment and wage outcomes of students who complete the training, whether the training is part of a larger sequence of progressively more advanced training from which you can benefit, and whether the training can count towards college credits that you can use to pursue a college certificate or degree. Weigh the answers to these questions against the actual cost of enrolling and the time involved in completing the training.